Let's zoom in. So here's the heavy rain. Again, if you're around in Canto, La Presa, this is a storm that's capable of possibly producing a tornado. So I'm going to show you this tracking information real quick. Again, to the northeast, around 35 miles per hour. So it's moving pretty quickly. So if you're in La Presa, it should be there by about 11:52, Casa de Oro by about 11:57. And it has a pretty decent looking signature. And when I say that, I mean it's this hook shape that you see right here, right around the 54. I'm going to call out some intersections. Hopefully you're familiar with this. South Woodman Street, also Briarwood Road near the 54. So in these areas, we could be seeing a possible tornado. So this is basically just showing us where we have quite a bit of rotation on the radar. So again, that's a tornado warning. It's near the Encanto area, La Presa right now. So this is where you're seeing a possible tornado on the ground. Potentially. We have to get reports of that, but so far it is radar indicated. So if you're in this area, make sure you seek shelter, interior hallway or closet. Make sure you stay away from windows. If we were anywhere else in the country, we'd tell you to get into a basement, but we don't typically have basements in California. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. If you're just tuning in, this is a tornado warning. This is for this area that you're seeing on the map, La Presa, Encanto, possible radar indicated tornado. I'm going to track it again for you real quick because it is moving pretty quickly. Again, 35 miles per hour to the northeast. So if you are in any of these areas, you need to just take cover, at least an interior hallway or closet. So for now, it's a possible tornado. It's going to be moving in this direction until it's done. So I would say in about 5 minutes, it should get to La Presa. So in this vicinity, we're also looking at very heavy rainfall and potentially damaging winds. So I'm just going to zoom in again. If you're just turning in, we have a tornado warning in this area. So this is where you see kind of the red near the 54 Briarwood Road. If you're familiar with that area, it's in the vicinity and it's going to keep traveling to the northeast. This is all part of a cluster of other storms in the area too. I'm going to zoom out so we can kind of see what's going on here with the rest of the county. So elsewhere we have very heavy rain with potentially gusty winds. So we're going to stay on until this warning expires because who else is in the path of this would be El Cajon. So let me just track this one more time and get some more areas for you. So with this storm, let me retrack it for you. With this storm traveling to the northeast, we have quite a few sections on the map here that are going to be involved in this. And this is mostly, again, for East County. So if you're just tuning in, it's a tornado warning, East County. So we have La Presa, 11:53, Casa de Oro, 11:58, Mount Helix, noon, and then El Cajon, 12:04. So we'll see if this holds together. Typically, they don't tend to hold together, but in this case, it's a radar indicated tornado, so we'll have to see if it does. So this tornado warning for this area outlined in red, this is going to go until 12:15. So a lot of information on the screen here. So again, if you're just tuning in, this is for parts of East County, tornado warning till 12:15. I'm going to put up some more information for you on the map here. So at least if you're in this area, you kind of know what to do. We don't deal with this a lot. So make sure that you seek shelter in interior hallway or closet. Make sure you stay away from the windows. This is really the only section of the county that we're seeing this type of weather in. We do have the potential for thunderstorms, but as far as a tornado warning, this for East County mainly. Steve and Marianne, did you have any questions?
Yeah, Sheena, I know you were tracking this extreme weather earlier, and I knew you were mentioning to me something was happening about 30 miles off the coast. Was this something that came toward land? And also, what is the difference between that? Because usually us here in this region hear about water spouts, which is also something that can turn into a tornado.
Yeah, so if a water spout moves over land, then it becomes a tornado. Water spout is a water spout when it's over water, but it can travel over water to land. That we did have a couple clusters of showers and storms that did have the capability to do that, but with this particular one, this was not exactly from that same cluster of storms. However, it just kind of shows you the potential in the storms that we do have. So with this particular storm, it did originate in the southwestern part of our county, and then it's moving now to the northeast. But yeah, we did have that earlier. We had clusters of showers and storms offshore, which were capable of producing water spouts, which kind of tells you how unstable the atmosphere is right now. So I guess I'm not really surprised that we do have a tornado warning. Our risk for severe weather today, as far as severe thunderstorms and tornadoes, is relatively low. So I don't see too much more of this happening around the county.
Sheena, that's a pretty large area that you've circled in on there, which is where the warning is centered, obviously. I'm looking just in that, and obviously you have homes, you have businesses, right where it would have originated, perhaps Sweetwater High School, and I'm looking at all of the other high schools and middle schools and elementary schools in that area, kind of moving in that eastern direction. Best guess as to where this is right now. You gave us some of the future times of where it could be headed. What part of that map would you say is the concern right now?
So right now we're near La Presa. So since it is moving, that's a good question, Steve. We're near La Presa. This is where we're looking. Where we see this hook shape is typically where we see the potential for a tornado. So that's kind of where you see this hook section where the red is. I'm going to walk on camera real quick and point it out to you because I'm doing a lot of controlling of the computer off camera. So it's right here where we would see this hook. That's typically, in most cases, where we could potentially see the rotation in a storm, and then the red shows us very heavy rain. So even if we're not seeing a tornado on the ground, because it's radar indicated at this point, even if we're not seeing it, we're seeing very strong winds. So yeah, near La Presa, to answer your question, near La Presa, the 125, I'm going to zoom in here. The 125 and the 54 near La Presa, there's Rancho Elementary School. There is also Audubon Elementary School, Freese Elementary School, Avondale Elementary School near the 125 and the 54. So these are the areas that are all in the vicinity right now of either what we're seeing as a potential tornado or very damaging winds. So again, this is a tornado warning. This is going to go until 12:15, and right now near La Presa is where we're seeing it.
And so, Sheena, we know that you are very experienced with tornadoes because you have come from Florida. So a couple of really basic questions for us here who grew up here in San Diego or are not familiar with tornadoes at all. What does a tornado warning mean? And also, what does this look like? Is the sky going to turn black? You know, besides the fact that people should stay indoors and stay away from windows. So what are people going to be experiencing now?
So typically when you have a tornado in the area, yes, the skies get very dark, the winds start to switch. If there's an actual tornado on the ground, you'll hear kind of something that sounds like a train is typically kind of the experience that many people have when they're in a tornado. So in this particular instance, this could be occurring in these areas, but again, radar indicated doesn't mean it's on the ground. However, we treat it as though it is because we're not really sure yet. But if the radar is indicating enough of a hook shape here, if you're in that area, you're seeing very gusty winds. So even if we're not seeing a tornado on the ground, we're at least seeing damaging winds. So again, that's the 125 near La Presa. That's where we're mostly seeing it. I'm going to keep watching it to see if I think it's falling apart. But this is moving to the northeast around 35 miles per hour. Casa de Oro about 11:59, Mount Helix 12:01. So again, that's a tornado warning till 12:15. If you're just tuning in, that's La Presa. It's going to be heading towards the El Cajon area very soon. And I'm gonna, let me see, it might have just updated too. They might have, because I just noticed the red popped up. So they might have actually expanded or extended the time. So let me remove some of this from the screen and see what the most recent update is. So no, it's still 12:15. So tornado warning still until 12:15, still moving northeast around 35 miles per hour, guys.
By the way, we have our NBC7 field crews that were in that area heading towards it to try and see what they can see and gather on the ground, obviously in a safe manner. Big picture, Sheena, how rare is something like this? I mean, it's not something that I can recall in recent memory of you bringing up a tornado warning and us talking about this.
You know, it's actually for this part of the country, it's fairly rare when we have a weather system like we've been seeing over the past couple days. It's not as rare because the atmosphere is just so unsettled and unstable. So, you know, just relatively speaking, on a day-to-day basis with storms in San Diego, it's fairly rare. So we're not anywhere close to what we would consider Tornado Alley, not close. So fairly rare, but not unheard of. So we're still seeing that currently. I'm going to read out some times too, though, because I am still tracking it. Again, it's a tornado warning for parts of East County. If you are just tuning in, there's La Presa on your screen. This is moving to the northeast around 35 miles per hour. So Casa de Oro, 11:58, Homelands, 11:58, Grossmont, 12:01, El Cajon, 12:04, Bostonia, 12:06. So this is the area where we're seeing a potential tornado. Radar indicated. I'm going to step off again so I can show you some more stuff. Radar indicated, so we could be seeing a tornado on the ground. We'll have to get reports of that later on, but the warning still goes until 12:15. So as we look at this and look at the map, I will say I think that there are at least damaging winds in this. There's very heavy rain in this. It's just about near La Presa and Casa de Oro, between the 54 and the 94 is where I think we have some of the highest winds and heaviest rains right now. So if you're near the 125 and you know where the 54 and the 94 are, in between the two is where we're seeing some of the strongest winds and the heaviest rain with this tornado warning. It does appear to me that maybe it's losing its shape a little bit, which is a good thing, because then that would mean the chances of a tornado are less likely, a tornado on the ground. But either way, since there's still a warning up, we need to treat it as though there could be a tornado on the ground. I just want to give you some information if you're in this area, what you should do. Obviously, seek shelter. I'm hoping that everyone already is in some enclosed space. You want to be in an interior hallway or closet, and you want to stay away from windows, guys.
Sheena, and I'm talking out loud here because our booth is listening in. We have a number of live presence cameras around San Diego. Do we have anything that is remotely in that area heading east that we can just pop in from outside to show you what the skyline looks like? If we do, we will certainly bring that to you as we continue to stay on this tornado warning here.
You know, if we do, it would have to be, I would say, in the La Presa area or El Cajon. I'm just zooming out a little bit to get more perspective. So if you're just tuning in, here's the entire county map, and there's our tornado warning. So just to kind of give you perspective of what we're seeing, we're not looking at a tornado outbreak. I don't want anyone to think that, but if you are in East County, we do have a tornado warning here. So until 12:15, that's 15 minutes from now, we'll see if the tornado warning stays up. But in the meantime, we still do have this. But yeah, if you're East County, you may be seeing these dark skies. You might be seeing the winds, you know, really picking up in these areas. I'm going to track it again, though, because for those areas that are to the north and east of this El Cajon, you're going to start seeing some pretty high winds and very heavy rainfall here soon. Still looks like it's moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour, but it looks like it might be getting just a little bit unorganized here, but we'll keep paying attention to it, keeping our eye on it. So here are some areas for the tornado warning until 12:15 that it might be impacting. Mount Helix right now, basically. El Cajon 1204, Bostonia 1206, Winter Gardens 1209. So if you're in these areas, you're under the tornado warning, but you're also in the direct path of this storm that has the capability of producing a tornado, guys.
So those are the outlying areas, Mount Helix, El Cajon, Bostonia, Winter Gardens, that are outside of the area, like the eye of it, if you will. But so what are some of the areas in the outer regions, Sheena, that are like Chula Vista or other areas of the South Bay? Will they be feeling and seeing the effects of this, and what should they be doing?
So if you're in Chula Vista, it's already past you, so you don't have to worry about that. Areas that I just read off here, those are the ones that are pretty much in the path of what we could be seeing as a tornado for these sections that are in the tornado warning. So in outside areas, just know you still have a chance of thunderstorms today. Any thunderstorm can produce damaging winds and possible hail. I really think that this tornado warning, here we go, it's just been extended. So I'm going to click right in this area. So let me just update you on this information. Let's see when this expires now. So looks like it's still going till 12:45. So this has now been extended until 12:45. To me, it looks a little bit more unorganized, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't be seeing a tornado in this section. So this is really what we're watching right now, is this cluster of what you see as kind of orange and yellow on the map near Casa de Oro. I'm going to read out some intersections again. This is along the 94, Casa de Oro. There is an area also near Mount Helix where we could be seeing some rotation with this storm.
Hey, Sheena, quick question. Yeah. As we're looking at that map, it doesn't show the topography, but any of us who've lived in San Diego for any amount of time know that there's a lot of hills in that area. So specifically, the 94 kind of is a wind tunnel, if you will, and in a little bit of a valley with hills around it, certainly Mount Helix, with its name being up there. When you have that topography with possible tornado or this tornado warning that we're reporting on right now, what does that do? Is that helpful, or is that,
no,
or does it even matter?
Mountains usually are not helpful for tornadoes. That's why we rarely see tornado warnings in the mountains. However, again, it's not unheard of. So as much as tornadoes like flat land, because they do, because a mountainous terrain can sometimes, not help a tornado. They can occur anywhere. Tornadoes can occur anywhere. So it really doesn't matter about the topography of the land. I'm going to give you some more times real quick. If you're in Mount Helix, 1203 is when it'll be arriving near you. El Cajon, 1207. So it's really in the Mount Helix area right now. El Cajon, 1207. So these are areas where we could have a possible tornado. On the ground, potentially, it's radar indicated right now, but certainly some damaging winds are also going to be possible.
Just want to let people know as well that we're going to stay on with you until we are out of the woods with this warning. So maybe you have a friend that doesn't watch the news always, or is out in El Cajon, or one of those outlying areas that you're concerned about. Give them a call, let them know that we're going to be on with you, bringing you the warnings, and obviously Sheena's on top of it, keeping tabs on what we know. Marianne, you and I were just talking about the fact that we wish we could tap into that Mount Helix camera that occasionally we'll take a peek on looking at the weather.
I think we will try and get that. They are about 1,000, 1,200 feet in elevation there. And just wondering, too, the fact that it's been extended. It was at 12:15 to 12:45. So I know Sheena's gathering information now. So the question that we're going to be asking her is, what is the reason as to why it's been extended? Is it gathering steam or what? Because so many of us are so inexperienced when it comes to tornadoes and why it is forming, and perhaps is it getting stronger. But the main point is, do not open a window to go take a look at it. Stay away from windows, go to the center of your home. A lot of times it's usually the bathroom or perhaps even a closet. Gather up your pets and your kids and stay safe. Do not go outside. And Sheena, what happens if you're driving? So a couple of questions here. If you're on the road and they're listening to us right now, perhaps any way they could on their NBC7 app perhaps, what should you do if you're driving? Also, what does this mean that now the warning has been extended for another 30 minutes?
So if you're driving, you never want to pull under an overpass because winds strengthen under an overpass. You want to just seek shelter when you're driving. So that's really what you want to do, is seek shelter. Don't get out of the car and try and run. So, I mean, unless you're running inside. But you don't want to park under an overpass ever. Winds get very strong there. Now, as far as the tornado warning getting extended, it's actually until 12:45. Let me actually redo that so it's not confusing to anybody watching. It has been extended. So when these things get extended, that means that radar has indicated that there is still enough rotation inside this storm to possibly produce a tornado. So that's why it has been extended until 12:45, because this storm is capable of producing enough rotation to produce that tornado. So this is until 12:45. This is including El Cajon. El Cajon's in the path of this by 12:06. So basically right now, Bostonia 12:09, Winter Gardens 12:11, Lakeside 12:15. This storm's traveling to the northeast around 35 miles per hour. It's moving pretty quickly, so it's not a slow-moving storm. It's going to continue moving in that direction. I'm going to step off. So I believe we have, which camera do we have?
We've got a camera that's one of our cameras that's out in the East County, and it's facing towards Crest, which, is on the other side of El Cajon, and just can give you an idea of the dark sort of sky out there that, Sheena, you initially were saying goes along with what you would expect during a tornado warning like this.
Okay, so yeah, we have very dark skies. Here's the other issue when you're dealing with a tornado that has very heavy rain in the vicinity. We call those rain-wrapped tornadoes. They're very hard to see sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. If you have a lot of heavy rain in the vicinity, you can't see the tornado as well, and those would be a rain-wrapped tornado.
You know what else is interesting, and as we take another look out from our camera right here, where we're broadcasting from in the Kearney Mesa area looking east, is I'm just pulling up my simple iPhone map, Sheena, and I'm looking at the traffic areas, and there's a very slow yellow line up the 15 and on the eastbound 8, and this would be a delayed reaction, if you will, to any sort of weather that's come through and forced drivers to slow down. And so I wouldn't say it's real time, but it's clearly showing the large corridor that perhaps is impacting people on some of the major freeways like Interstate 8 all the way. Let's see, the yellow line moves all the way out towards La Mesa, which at this point you're thinking, I want to keep circling back to where this is right now. This is the most accurate
Yeah, so this is the radar showing the storm. It's unfortunate on the last camera, I feel like we had a good view, but it was focusing in on those raindrops, so it couldn't focus on the distance. But this is until 12:45. So what we're looking at here with this tornado warning, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here. This is Casa de Oro, Mount Helix area. This is moving to the northeast around 35 miles per hour. So this tornado warning in this area, this is going to go, it's until 12:45. You know, the problem is the old tornado warning is still up on the map. I need it to clear for the new tornado warning information, but the tornado warning has been extended until 12:45. So this is what we're looking at around the county. Ignore those precip rates. So there we see, there's the information, 12:45. That's until the tornado warning expires. So as we head through the next several hours here, we're going to continue seeing the chance for showers and strong storms, but I'm going to zoom out so you can see here where the tornado warning is. This is for East County mostly, and it is this cell right here that we're continuing to watch. So here it is on the map. This is near Casa de Oro, Rancho San Diego. I think I should be able to get this up now at 12:15 is what it's still showing. So it may, I'm going to wait and see until 12:15 because it might have been extended, but there's a chance the tornado warning information is now continuing to come up as 12:15. So either way, it doesn't matter. We'll talk about what's happening right now. Casa de Oro area, and if you're near Hillside, Mount Helix, El Cajon, this is where we're seeing a possible tornado. I don't want to say possible tornado on the ground because we don't know that yet, but there's always the possibility of a tornado on the ground when we do have a tornado warning. If you're in any of these areas, this is north of the 94, west of the 54, and if you're in this section, you could be seeing very damaging winds. So I'm going to put up some information again for those of you tuning in. If you're in this area, this is a tornado warning. This is what you want to do. Seek shelter in an interior hallway or closet. You definitely want to stay away from windows. I'm going to track this for you too because it's still moving to the northeast around 35 miles per hour. So this is pretty much the speed it's been going at. It's moving into El Cajon right now. So if we track this to the northeast, Hillside 12:11, Bostonia 12:13, Granite Hills 12:15, Glenview 12:17. So if you're
Go ahead,
Marianne.
No, go ahead, Sheena.
I was just going to say, if you're in any of these areas, just know that you're in the path of a tornado warning.
So Sheena is monitoring this tornado warning second by second. If you're just joining us now at 12:09, we are extending our NBC 7 News Midday newscast because of this weather alert, and boy, is it one. We're not used to having this sort of thing, especially in Southern California. We've been inundated with floods and this horrific rainstorm here, and now of all things, we have a tornado warning. And this is in an area that extends from Flint Springs to Crest to La Presa to Lemon Grove, La Mesa, Carlton Hills. That's on Google Map, and that's the boundary there. And Sheena, correct me if I'm naming some places wrong. Bostonia in the middle, Hillsdale, Grossmont College is also located there. So these are the areas that you need to be careful. You need to go indoors and take a look at this camera, live camera that we have right now. And this is where the coast is.
This is the camera that typically you'll see behind us here when we've got a nice clear view of downtown, which we do not have right now because of what this weather system is doing. Sheena, as you continue to monitor this tornado warning, what sort of wind speeds are we talking about here? Because I don't think anyone who is not watching the news right now is going to step outside and think, this is a tornado. They're going to think, wow, this is some really strong winds. I mean, tornado, that's just not something that people think about in San Diego.
And don't take pictures. Don't take pictures because, for the simple reason, you need to be safe first.
Yeah.
Don't go outside and take video.
So what are the wind speeds that this might entail, something like this moving through?
So I would say wind speeds of 60 miles an hour or higher if, you know, and that's just a severe thunderstorm.
Sure.
If this is actually a tornado, we can have, of course, winds over 60 miles per hour. But I would say outside of that, we could be seeing winds around 60 miles per hour. And that's a severe thunderstorm anyway, which, you know, in this case, we are looking at very windy conditions. So we're looking at, is this our Mount Helix camera?
This is the camera that is out looking
Crest.
towards Crest. I don't believe this is the Mount Helix camera.
Okay,
I think this
so
may
this
be
is in the
provided through
vicinity.
CAL FIRE, one of their cameras.
So this is in the vicinity. So if you're in the area of the tornado warning, if you're in Hillsdale, it's going to be around there by 12. So right now, basically 12:12. Bostonia 12:15. Can we go back to the radar real quick? Because I want to bring attention to a couple other storms that I see moving into other parts of the county. So that's the only tornado warning we have, but we're Also watching, look at this heavy rain, these thunderstorms moving into Coronado, the Silver Strand, downtown near the airport. There's some more down to the south. I'm going to keep my eye on these too because these look like pretty strong thunderstorms as well with very heavy rain. And those could be producing quite a bit of wind also. So it's not just this part of East County that we've been focused on. It's other sections of the county around the South Bay and other parts of East County too. Like if you're near La Mesa, for example, just north of the 8th, there's a very strong storm here that could be having some pretty strong winds with heavy rain and lightning. So I'm going to watch that as well. I want to go back to the tornado warning though, because I don't want to ignore this. I just wanted to show you that there are other things also happening in the county. So let me just query this. If this tornado warning expires in 2 minutes, then basically it has fallen apart because it expires at 12:15. It did get extended until 12:45, and then it looks like that might have gotten taken back, and it's just now going to go until its original expiration of 12:15. But I still want to track it for you because if you're in this area, this has been a storm. I think it's fallen apart quite a bit, but this has been a storm that has been shown capable by radar to possibly produce enough rotation to produce a tornado. So Bostonia, 12:15, Glenview, 12:19, Johnstown, 12:20. So if you're in any of these areas, East County, there is a tornado warning. You are in the vicinity of that. It's heading to the northeast around 35 miles per hour. So this is going to go for another couple minutes. We'll see if that gets extended. Outside of that, still watching these storms around Coronado, downtown, near National City. Also one near La Mesa that looks, or I would say north of the 8 now, that looks like it could have some pretty strong winds, guys.
Well, there's a number of schools that are actually sending out alerts, Sheena, and so it's good that the news is spreading here. The Chula Vista Elementary School District sending out information to parents, telling them to shelter in place. Also, we've heard Southwestern College, San Diego State University issuing alerts of their own. So that's what you want in a situation like this. You just want people to know what's happening. A word that we have not used yet, or at least I haven't heard you use it yet, Sheena, would be microburst. So explain sort of the difference between that and a tornado. Is that like a smaller tornado, if you will?
It's not a tornado at all, actually. A microburst is very different, and we wouldn't know about a microburst until it happened, because then we would see the damage afterwards. Sometimes people can see damage from a Okay, I just want to mention that the tornado warning has been canceled.
Oh.
So, sorry, not canceled, expired. So the storm did look like it was falling apart, and it has fallen apart. So we no longer have a tornado warning. That is good news, but in the area we still could have pretty strong winds. We are still watching these very strong storms, though, around Coronado and into downtown. But to answer your question, Steve, so a tornado is when we have the rotation of that funnel cloud, it reaches the ground, it's a tornado. A microburst is different. A microburst is when we have very strong winds that shoot down from the cloud, they hit the ground, straight line winds, and they spread out in all directions. Sometimes the damage can look like it is a tornado, but then when it goes out and gets surveyed, it's then shown to be a microburst, or what we also call straight line wind damage. That can be very strong too and very damaging. But in these cases, we can tell you that a storm might have very strong winds, but until the damage occurs and then it gets surveyed, then we wouldn't know it's a straight line wind damage. But in some cases, we can have thunderstorms that are capable of producing that. But we'll keep watching these strong storms, and we'll, of course, have updates over the next hour.
So, Sheena, we're showing our Kearney Mesa camera right now. And so now that the tornado warning has expired, what does that mean for surrounding areas? Is visibility still going to look like this?
Visibility, yeah, it's still going to look like this through, I think we could be getting a break in this part of the county. I would say a couple hours we'll get a little bit of a break, but the tornado warning has actually been expired, so we no longer have it, but very ominous skies here because we do have other storms around other parts of the county. So again, I mentioned downtown, Coronado, Silver Strand, all these areas, even close to La Mesa, north of the 8, we still have all these types of storms moving through, but we don't have any more tornado warnings right now, but of course we'll keep watching it as we head through the afternoon.
Do we have the ability to real quick put up the QR code there? Sorry to put you on the spot in the booth, but we've been putting that up throughout the morning for people. And if we were able to put that up, it'll be an easy way for you to keep tabs on the Doppler and what's
Yeah, 'cause
happening
you
in your
can watch it,
neighborhood
yeah.
as the day goes on. Traditionally, we would just say go to the App Store and download the NBC7 app.
Right.
But we have this tool here for you. If you do have your camera, to pull it out on your cell phone camera there, and then it'll take you directly to the place where you can get the real-time updates. You would have gotten, if you were part of this, you would have gotten the warning directly from our NBC7 team when this tornado warning came through.
So that's a very good reason, Stephen, as we have been telling people, this is the time and the place to download our NBC7 app. It is free. You'll get push alerts for where it's happening, the rain, any kind of weather event that's happening in your neighborhood. Stay with us because we're going to be with you at least for the next 10 minutes or so to make sure that this, I don't know if it's such a thing, Sheena, there's a tornado warning can resurrect again. But, you know, this is an important time for us. We want to keep you safe, and the only way that we can do that for you is to give you the information. We've got crews on the ground. They're staying safe. They're covering the story so that we can be your eyes and ears as to what's happening here in this county.
Well, and it's as Sheena's been showing us the wider view of the radar, obviously there was this very specific area of concern that went up through National City area and then through Encanto, and then it moved fairly quickly, Sheena, as we were with you here on TV watching the path of what could be a tornado. And again, we're not saying there was one, but there could be because of the warning, and it was going through fairly quickly. But all these other areas of the county, we're seeing on the Doppler the bright yellow and some of the oranges and the different colors that to the naked eye show problems for people who are inside, hopefully a nice warm house with a roof over their head.
Yeah.
So Sheena, now take over and tell us what's happening now.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy. So we have quite a bit of heavy rain now. So yes, we no longer have the tornado warning that was for East County. If you've been watching, that's been expired. There's our radar sweeping around. We have a lot of heavy rain. We have a lot of light rain too, but a lot of the heavy rain is the area that I'm going to focus on. Silver Strand, up into parts of Coronado, across the bay, into areas near downtown. Precip rates are over 3 inches. I think we could be seeing some localized flooding. So the issue, of course, is when we have very heavy rain in a short period of time, that's when we see flooding issues because we don't have time for the water to drain when there's too much of it. So in this area, we're seeing very heavy rain. This is north of National City. This is all mostly moving to the northeast. So if you're downtown, you're seeing very heavy rainfall here. That's going to continue. And even if you're up near Serra Mesa, Kearney Mesa, all the major interstates in this section seeing very heavy rain. So hopefully we don't have too many people on the road because your visibility is going to be greatly reduced here. All this is heading mostly to the north and east. And then around Santee, north of La Mesa, we still have some pockets of very heavy rain also, but it's not just rain. We're looking at thunderstorm activity too. So that's going to be in the forecast for the rest of the day today through tonight into early tomorrow, the chance for thunderstorms. I think we're going to see a little bit of a break though this afternoon. So let's look at the big picture. This is the big storm system that we've been watching since yesterday. Yesterday it was impacting Los Angeles. Today it's impacting us. But if you look here, just off to our west, we have a break coming. That break will be here this afternoon. And then tonight, we're going to have some more showers and potential storms move in. We still have the flood watch for the whole county. We have a flood advisory for the South Bay and East County, also North County. And then we have the flood warning for the San Diego River at Fashion Valley. And then we have a flash flood warning that's just north of Oceanside that extends north. So this is going to be the case through tomorrow morning. So the timing of this flood watch has actually been extended. So for the rest of the day today, scattered heavy rain with the chance for thunderstorms the rest of the afternoon, even though, again, we're going to see a bit of a break. But then overnight, we're going to have more showers and storms into Wednesday morning. And then we're talking about mountain snow. So outside of the storms and heavy rain we've seen, mountain snow levels will be dropping. Around 4,000 to 5,000 feet is where they'll be fluctuating through about Friday. But we do have a winter weather advisory above 5,000 feet. So let's look at future weather here. Now we can look at the timing for the rest of the day today. So we head through the afternoon. Notice not too much after about 2 p.m. It looks much quieter. By 4 p.m., we could have a couple isolated heavy showers or storms moving through. Overnight into about 9 p.m., snow levels dropping. We could have some more heavy rain and storms moving through. And then there's 4 o'clock tomorrow morning where we're still seeing some scattered rain with snow levels dropping even more. And then there's Wednesday around 9 a.m. morning commute. I think we'll still have showers around. Rain chance is actually going to stick around through Friday. So we're looking at a pretty active weather pattern for the rest of the week. We'll be watching, of course, as we head through the rest of the day, guys.
Sheena, thank you.
We'll be checking in with you, Sheena, but right now we have our ground crews. Allison Ash, who is one of our, if you will, news warriors here, weather warrior.
Seasoned veteran,
yes,
for sure.
Exactly.
Allison, tell us where you are and what you're seeing.
Yeah, we're headed east on the 94 right now. We have been, we just went through Lemon Grove. Visibility really not good in the Lemon Grove area. And as we kind of get into the Spring Valley area, it seems the rain seems to be lightening up. Visibility seems to be a little bit better, but all around us you can see it's a mess out there. The clouds are low, they look ominous, and not a lot of people on the road, which is a good thing. We're heading east. We're getting close to the Rancho San Diego area right now, and look at that. The rain just stopped, and barely drizzling right now, and we've got a little bit of sunlight sneaking through here, but we can see all around us a lot of those darkening skies, and we can see that there's still a lot of problems out there.
Allison, is it windy?
No, it doesn't appear to be windy at all where we are at this moment. So, and again, it changes. You go a few miles, and everything seems to change a little bit. I'm looking straight ahead to the east, and it looks a lot darker, a lot scarier in that direction, and that's where we're going now.
All right, Allison. Well, drive safe, and if you see anything out of the ordinary, let us know. We'll get you right back here on TV to tell people at home. Thank you.
So we are monitoring the storm, and Sheena, second by second, is monitoring all parts of San Diego County. And of course, it's pretty amazing, unbelievable, Stephen, that we are on here doing live coverage of a tornado.
A tornado warning. Again, not something that people probably thought that they would be experiencing. Sheena, one of the things that you've been, and I don't want to get lost in this when we talk about the rainfall, of some of it coming down in the neighborhood of 3 inches an hour, I think is what you were mentioning, that heavy rain.
At one point, yeah.
At one point. So that's what we had 2 weeks ago, if you will, when we had all of the flooding problems, right? Like that heavy rain all at the same time.
Very heavy rain. Yeah, I just want to mention, we don't have a tornado warning anymore. The banner, if you just saw it at the bottom of the screen, that's actually old, but we don't have a tornado warning anymore. It was expired. It was for East County. But yes, we did have very heavy rain, the other week when we were talking about the flooding that happened in Coronado and National City. That very heavy rain is now happening again around the South Bay. I'm just going to step off for a second to adjust the radar. We're not seeing the highest precip rates at a 1/2 inch an hour, but some areas are seeing 1/2 inch an hour. I want to just remove this and adjust the map for you. So where you see this red, this is across the Silver Strand, Coronado Shores area seeing rain, but across the Silver Strand and into Imperial Beach, we have rainfall rates showing up on the radar over 3 inches. Take a look at that live cam too. So this is very heavy rain against Silver Strand down to Imperial Beach, up through Coronado. This is very heavy rainfall. And then I'm going to zoom into areas near downtown, Chula Vista, north of Chula Vista, National City. This is very heavy rain across the 805, South Park, East San Diego. So you see here across the 15 and the 94, all these areas are seeing very heavy rain. I think we could see possibly some flooding in these sections. I'm going to query this part. Over 4 inches an hour. It's not sitting in one spot for an hour, so that's good because then we would see 4 inches. But it is moving at a pretty good clip, I would say. And this is all approaching La Mesa right now across the 8, the 94, all these major freeways at the moment. So yeah, we're seeing pretty heavy rain in the South Bay, now moving into East County. This is all moving mostly to the northeast. Most of the speed of this rain thunderstorm activity that we have, most of these speeds in the direction of motion to the northeast are around about 35 miles per hour. So a little bit of a break coming for areas near Serra Mesa. Santee seeing some of that heavy rain too. This is all going to head into El Cajon again. And again, the possibility of thunderstorms. So in any strong storms, we could be looking at some strong winds. Also the possibility of lightning. we have more rain that's pretty far up to our north, but a lot happening on the radar. The radar, I think, is getting a little overloaded at this point. But then you see snow up in the mountains to our north. This is all part of this big weather system that we've had around for a couple days. It's been very stubborn. It stalled out yesterday. It didn't want to move. Now it's finally making progress to the east, and so now we're getting the heavy rain from it. And then we have a little bit of a break coming. I would say in a couple hours, we should be seeing a period of dry weather before we have some more showers and potentially storms return tonight. So we have a flood watch for the whole county. Again, that very heavy rain in the South Bay we're paying attention to. Heavy scattered rain through the rest of the day today with a thunderstorm chance. But mostly that chance is looking like right now and then later this evening and into Wednesday morning. And those snow levels in the mountains will be dropping off too. So we'll be watching all this as well. Let's look at the timing of this again as we head through the next couple hours, bit of a break. 4 p.m., 5 p.m., maybe a few more showers passing through later on tonight. Snow levels drop in the mountains. Overnight into early tomorrow, we have more showers and storms in the forecast. Tomorrow is still going to be a day where we will have rain around. I don't think it'll be as steady through the day tomorrow, but we'll certainly be watching it. I want to talk about mountain snow real quick too. So we do have a winter weather advisory in the mountains starting tonight. Snow levels mostly above 5,000 feet for that one. We could see over 8 inches and winds could be gusting near about 50 miles per hour. So we'll be keeping an eye on all this. But again, we still have that heavy rain to talk about. Do we want to look back at the radar? We can look back at the radar again because I just want to show you where that heavy rain is right now because this is pretty much the main story and why we're still on right now because we did have that earlier tornado warning and now we're watching all this heavy rain in the South Bay. So I want to go back to this so we can see where the heavy rain is. The radar has been kind of overworked today, I guess you could say that. So now we're looking down Imperial Beach. That's very heavy rain and across the 5 up through Chula Vista now very heavy rain with thunderstorms National City and Canto heading into Lemon Grove and La Mesa into El Cajon as well. And this whole line is pretty much heading now from about the southwest to the northeast. So we'll be watching this. This could be a line of some pretty strong thunderstorms as it continues heading to the east and northeast, guys.
Okay, Sheena, thanks very much. And you're going to join us once again in a minute or so. You're looking at a live picture of 5th and Laurel right now, and you can see those skies are just unbelievable, like we've never seen before. And also, I checked the airport, San Diego International Airport flights seem to be on time, just a few delays.
The QR code up once again for you if you would like to go directly to the place where you can see the Doppler radar and you can track this storm from home. It's going to take you to our NBC 7 app, which is just a great tool. You'll get push alerts. You know, if by chance there was another tornado warning, you would get that push alert directly to you if you're not sitting here with us watching TV. Another promise that we have for you, our NBC 7 reporters and photojournalists are out and about gathering this right now, so we'll have much more on later editions of NBC 7.
And if we have any other sort of weather events, we will be back on live on NBC 7.
NBC